I know you want.
Natural. Act natural. I said natural, not dead.
I am. I'm naturally dead. How's it going, everybody? This is SequelCentric Tidbits. We take a look at some of your favorite sequel properties that have dropped some info on the interwebs in the last week or so. We're going to chat about it. This is episode 1. If you want to see episode 0 and what of a hot miss that was, check it out on all your podcasting apps. This same time last week, E3 was going on. If anybody doesn't know what E3 is, it's E3 stands for Electronics Entertainment Expo, and it's where they showcase all the new video games and everything. Last year, E3 was not around due to COVID. This one, they did some live streams and some other stuff fitting in with COVID guidelines. So we're just going to pick out some of the favorite games, sequel games that Sandy and I, and maybe hopefully everybody out there is looking forward to. Me personally, I've been a gamer since the Atari 2600 days, which my mother and father bought me and my younger sister one to play Space Invaders and everything like that. So that, for me, that's kind of been, next to camping, one of my favorite hobbies. On top of viewing movies and TV shows.
If you could take a breath for a second, I would like to let you know that I found the chat, so I will be keeping track of that.
Okay, wherever the chit chat is.
It's right here.
Excellent.
So I'll be reading chat and letting you know when anyone says anything. Unlike last time when I had to pull it up on my phone. Oh, it's a learning process.
Okay, well.
Anyways.
It's the first couple of episodes. We're going to make some boo-boos. Anyways, Sandy, I know one of the things that we share in common besides music and movies and camping, video games. How long have you been a gamer, and do you remember what your first video game system was?
Yeah, I do. It wasn't an NES, the original Nintendo system. And I remember, I think it was 91.
Yeah.
92 maybe?
Yeah.
No, 91, because I met you in 92. It was before you.
Okay. Before me?
Before you.
There was something before me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember, because I worked part-time, like 2-3 hours a day, maybe.
Yeah.
And I saved my money and ended up, this was back in the day when Woolworths was a thing. So those of you that don't know what that, this is kind of aging us. They had a layaway plan, much like Walmart does now. And I put the system on layaway. Yeah. And my mom was adamant about us not having the system because I had a younger brother and a younger sister. And she knew before it even came in the house that we would fight over it. So she didn't want that system in her house. Yeah. And I was 18 and a little rebellious. And I bought it anyways so that, my brother and sister and I had something to play. Yeah. Even though, my brother tried to dominate it.
Yeah.
And
boys are jerks.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like when I first started playing. I did play on the Atari. I remember playing Pong.
Yeah.
My stepdad had an Atari system. I don't remember which one it was, though, but I know I played Pong.
Probably 2600.
That's the tennis game one, right?
Yeah, basically the two paddles. Yeah. Basic competing. Yeah, exactly. Now you got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like, my first.
Excellent. Well, I know.
exposure.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the word.
I know. We have a hard time. Even we have a hard time sharing PS4 and other things we got going on, and
Yeah.
playing co-op games together is
A challenge.
challenge. Yeah.
To say the least.
Especially when I'm telling you to go over there, but I'm not telling you.
I'm like, yeah, over where?
Yeah, over there playing
Hello.
Mario. Okay. Okay. Now that everybody's got a brief history on our gaming experience. Just wanted to
We have Nerd 1 and Nerd 2.
player 1, player 2.
Nerd 1, Nerd 2.
Okay. Well, first thing I don't want to drop. It already came out, but it's coming to Switch. Tony Hawk 1+2, which are the remastered Tony Hawk games that came out on PlayStation 1 back in the day in the early 2000s. So the great thing about the Switch is it's basically a hybrid system, if anybody doesn't know, because for the longest time, Nintendo had their main console hooked up to the TV, and they had a handheld system, whether it was the Game Boy or the DS or whatever, but they decided to kind of fuse those two together and then made the Switch. So if you were going on a long road trip this summer with your folks and you're a teenager and you like the Tony Hawk games and you can't play it on your Xbox or your PlayStation, this would be a perfect follow-up. It's an arcadey type of thing. I've seen people play it. I haven't played any of it. Maybe my nephew Jacob and his crowd probably played it back in the game, but it is a sequel, a remaster, and I think sometimes a remaster is like a sequel. What's your opinion on remasters? Or
I don't know that it's a sequel. I think it's just like re-envisioned.
okay, which would be kind of like a sequel.
No.
Doesn't matter. So
it's all in the eye of the beholder.
that is true. That might be a different episode. I have a debate about remasters
what's a sequel and what's a retelling.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on to the next one is another skateboarding game, but it's on 2D called Ollie Ollie World. It is the third in the Ollie Ollie series, and it's a lot. It's been described. I was doing some research. It's sort of like the Tony Hawk games, but more on a 2D plane than like open world 3D, and it's very arcadey. Grab a high score. The first one was on the 3DS, the Wii U, the Vita. It did.
My bad.
Okay.
Sorry.
Wow, flashback of the last episode.
My bad.
So this one is a little bit more open, branching past different art style. The first two had a very 16-bit retro look. This one's got more of a looks like a hand-drawn look, but I'm sure everything's done on the computers nowadays. But they make a lot of games now look like they're hand-drawn, like Streets of Rage 4 and a lot of other games. So the art style, I might try this one out if we ever get a Switch. Once again, not my forte, but it does intrigue me. Grinding, flips, ollies, a whole bunch of other stuff, and I know Jacob's gonna roast me when he talks to me later because I don't have the skater lingo term. That's his forte. Okay, on to the next one. A branch or genre. That's the word I was looking for. The genre of games that Sandy and I like to play together, where we very minimal fighting. She'll have to correct me on this one. Brawlers or beat 'em ups, where usually those are co-op. Back in the day, like with Streets of Rage and Final Fight, you'd have to sit down on a couch. Now, a lot of the ones that are being remastered are new ones. You can play online with friends because you grow up and sometimes you move out of the city together. But when you can still play those games that you love and you got the online feature, it kind of brings you back to the heyday when you were teenagers. What is your the one I'm going to talk about right now was announced a bit ago, just before E3. This excites me. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which is, I don't know if it's a spiritual sequel or it is the third sequel from the two arcade games from the 90s that Konami made, where this was great because when there was arcades and you had to pump quarters in, you could play up to 4 people, all the Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, Michelangelo. So, and those games are basically made of pumping quarters. And the publisher, as I'm looking down at my notes and not at the camera, is Tribute Games, which some of the people that did the Scott Pilgrim game back in 2010 left Ubisoft, and they formed Tribute Games. They've done a few, so they're in charge. .emu, one of those two. They're publishing it. They also published Streets of Rage 4. So those guys are kind of, they've caught my, .emu's kind of grabbed my attention the last couple of years. I even published or had their hand involvement with the reimagining of Wonder Boy 3, The Dragon's Trap. You have any hype level on this Turtles beat 'em up game?
I just wanted to say real quick. Cindy says hi.
Okay.
She found you.
Okay.
She
Thank
says,
you.
Hey, Captain Jack.
Where's the rum? Why is the rum always gone?
You've got the bandana and I've got the silver tooth.
Okay, there you go. The pirate crew.
Yeah, we're the pirate crew.
Let me.
Okay, so now what was the question?
Do you have any hype level for this beat 'em up Turtles game that brings back the classic arcades beat 'em up?
Maybe a little. I'd probably play it if I had access to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would buy it, but if somebody loaned it to me.
Well, we've played. We busted out our PS3 recently. Played the original Streets of Rage.
Yeah.
You had fun with that?
Yeah, I mean that one's more on the sentimental side.
Yeah.
Because those are games that
Yeah.
I remember playing as a kid. At the video arcade.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah.
It was Yellow Brick Road.
Yeah.
That was our place to go to spend all our hard-earned money.
Quarters, yeah. Well, I mean, there was one beat 'em up game that we played. We put quite a bit of time into, Castle Crashers, which is very cartoony, comical beat 'em up with 4 different knights with 4 different powers, and depending on what knight you finish the game with, unlocks another character. So there's like you unlock all the bad guys you end up beating through this kind of long beat 'em up game.
So I've been missing some comments here.
Well, read them.
Cindy says her first game was Jax.
Okay.
As I'm guessing the ones where you threw
The ball?
the ball and picked up the... I remember that. And Patrick Duffy says, hey, guys!
Glad you could find us, Duff.
Hey, Duff! I can't wait for you to be here and not me.
Okay.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind helping.
This game is supposed to release sometime this year, 2021. I'm looking forward to it. It's got a 16-bit or 24-bit style. So it looks really great. Most of the stuff that we're talking about, there's trailers on YouTube. You can check it all out. I'm going to move on to the next game, which is also a brawler. River City Girls 2, which is a sequel to the first one that came out 2019. Came in that last year or two, and this one is interesting because usually in most beat 'em ups, that arcade beat 'em ups back in the day, like Double Dragon and stuff, the girlfriend got kidnapped, so the boyfriend and the friend had to go beat up everybody. In this case, the boyfriends get kidnapped, so the girls are the ones that are the heroes and got to rough everybody up in the high school and out around town. And apparently that Way Forward, which is known to do a lot of reimagining of old games, like A Boy and His Blob and stuff, they were made it in Arc Games. Where'd it go? Arc Games. Arc System Works, sorry. Who's known for a lot of 2D fighter games like Guilty Gear and stuff, published it. So that's great, and it's nice to see that now with digital download, you can kind of cut the middleman out. Like you don't have to go to GameStop or Target or Walmart, and you can the developers get a little bit more of that money, unlike back in the day. You got any hype level for this game?
This one to me is another.
Girl power, though.
It is girl power, but I don't know. Yes and no. I have mixed feelings about it. Again, if someone loaned us a copy, or it was a free download or something.
So if the first one was a free download, or what about 50% off?
Yeah, maybe.
Because it's a spin-off from the River City Ransom game that goes back to the 8-bit Nintendo. 8-bit Nintendo. It's part of a Nukuni Ku series. So, Okay, one more brawler talk, and then we'll move on to the next.
I took it away from him, Patrick.
Thank you. At least I'm not pounding on the mic.
No,
though.
I moved the mic so that you can't do that.
Okay,
ya Neanderthal.
Last co-op brawler game I want to mention, Streets of Rage 4, that came out last year. It was so long, so many Streets of Rage fans were waiting for it. They went for a completely different style, that hand-drawn style. .emu, whatever, published it, and the DLC's coming out this year. You got 3 characters that were boss characters, so they're going to be playable, and there's going to be some sort of challenge mode or something. So, you have any?
Again, this is
Gotcha.
Another same type of game. So, it's just changing up the characters.
Yeah.
But
Well, I like this series.
it's a nostalgia game again for me.
I played 1 and 2. I've seen some game footage of 4. I'm just waiting for it because I'm a piker. I'm a cheapskate, so I'm waiting for it to go on like 50% off because it looks great.
Yes, you are.
Okay, on to the next. Trying to look at the camera. Talking about remakes or remasters of the Wonder Boy series. Last couple of years, a lot of different developers have made some remakes of an old Sega franchise from the 80s, 90s called the Wonder Boy series. Like Wonder Boy Returns, like I mentioned earlier, Wonder Boy The Dragon's Trap 3, which was reimagined by Lizard Cube and .emu, which is great. That game was interesting because they gave you once again, it looks like hand-drawn and it looks really beautiful, but they also gave you, if you wanted to play the 8-bit Sega Master System version, they gave you that option too. So this was from the original developers of the 4th Wonder Boy Monster World game, where the main character is female with green hair. The original people involved decided to remake it for a new generation. Got any interest level on this, or what's your history with the Wonder Boy?
This one don't really have any history on it, so this one's really not up my alley.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of a platformer looking sort of game. Well, you saw me play the Wonder Boy 3 Dragon's Trap, where you actually get to, in that version, you get to pick boy or girl, Wonder Boy or Wonder Girl.
Yeah, this one, I'd probably watch you play it.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would, and that's okay.
Just before E3 happened, Square Enix, there was a 35th anniversary Dragon Quest stream, and they are going to remake Dragon Quest 3, which apparently Dragon Quest over in Japan is a big deal. The company only releases the game on Saturdays because when 3 came out back in somewhere between 89 and 91, kids were skipping school to buy the game. Businessmen and women were calling in sick. So, and this game has been made. Originally came out on the 8-bit Nintendo. Then it was redone for the 16-bit Super Nintendo or Super Famicom in Japan. It's been released on mobile and recently got re-released on the Switch. So they're using the Octopath Traveler engine, which Octopath Traveler was a game where you have 2D sprites on a 3D polyground background. So I saw some footage, and I like the Dragon Quest series. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's fun to play. You got any interest in this game? I made you watch the trailer.
Which one was it?
Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake.
Again, this would probably be one that I watched you play.
Well, does it look pretty?
Yeah,
compared
it
to
does.
the
Yes, it does.
8-bit or the 16-bit?
Yeah, it does. But yeah, I would probably just watch you play.
Yeah, but I think back in 2013, 14, Cellar Door Games released a little pixel-based game. It's I don't know, 24-bit or whatever, called Rogue Legacy, where you're this knight that you're trapped in a castle, and the castle has 4 different zones, and you die, and then your heir comes and goes through the castle, trying to beat it. So anything that you've acquired or any skills that you've bought from or weapons you bought from the blacksmith or the alchemist or whatever.
This is a platformer, yeah.
It's a platformer roguelike. A rogue game is basically it's got permadeath, which means you get as far as you can, you die, you have to start over, but the dungeon or the area that you played in mixes it all up. So once again, like in this one, Rogue Legacy, it's unlike where you lose everything in a regular rogue game. You do retain anything that you've purchased or any abilities you've acquired carries on to your next character. But every time you die, you have 3 different characters to choose from, and some of them might have they might be colorblind, so the game's all in black and white, or you might be short-sighted, so your vision's like this big and stuff like that. So the people have been begging for years and years for them to do a sequel. They finally had a beta early access. I think they called it early access last year, and already the game's not complete. It's supposed to be complete by the end of this year, and this game is the sequel's already bigger than the original. They've gone with once again like a hand-drawn look. They've been looking for feedback from the players, and they've been with each new update they've adjusted and they've listened to the crew. Once again, there's lots of games that I like. I watch some gameplay. Never get around to buying it, but I think the concept is interesting. And you got different classes like Barbarian, Archer, Wizard. One is they added on this one, which was Chef. So you got a chef's hat, but your weapon is a frying pan, which is kind of cool because anybody that anybody that throws a projectile at it, you can return it back with the frying pan.
Oh, okay.
You got any? Have you've watched?
I've seen some of the gameplay.
You got any interest in playing that?
Yeah, till I get frustrated and.
Well, that's the great thing about this game.
Throw the remote at you.
Well, this because of each new area you go to is a little bit more difficult. So when you first play, the gameplay only lasts a couple of minutes, but the better you get, the more gear you get, the more damage you get, then the longer you'll last. So. On to the next one. This series is by Ubisoft, and it goes all the way back to 2009. It's a great series. It's got multiple sequels and a few spin-offs. Just Dance 2020. What's your... You got a little bit of history.
I have one of them.
For the PS3, right?
I think so.
It's a good workout. You got to do that.
Yeah, it is, until somebody sold my move.
You're welcome.
Now it's useless. I can't play it.
But we still have the Nintendo Wii. You can just buy, used copy.
Why am I going to buy a used copy? I already own it. I just don't have the
I'm just saying
hardware to play it.
You got history with the Just Dance franchise. And
yes.
So... But yeah, they usually pick current songs and some old songs, so they mix it up. And I know my niece Kaylee is, she likes it, and I think she's got a few of them.
Your mom said, "Watch it."
Tickle my throat. Sorry about that, guy. Okay, well.
You need some water?
I'm gonna go get some water. If you wanna, I'm gonna ditch you for a second. If you wanna talk about the next.
Well, there's ow! Shocker! It just smashed my toe. So, yeah, oh my gosh, just like on the river when he jumps out of the canoe and leaves me all alone. This next one is one that I'm looking forward to, and I actually played the first one, which was Horizon Zero Dawn. Really good game. I really enjoyed it. And so the sequel is called Horizon Forbidden West, where our character, Aloy, goes to the western part of the North America, and
I think it's from some of the game footage that they had on YouTube. The developers were showing it. It looks like they're going to be around the San Francisco area.
Yeah, like central northern California. Yeah. And again, she's off to save the world from the threat of the machines.
That game is, I haven't played any of it, but I watched you play some of it. The first one. Yeah, you got these giant, some of them look like robot dinosaurs, but you also like got like robot alligators and stuff like that. And this one, they've, from the footage that I've seen, they've upped the ante and it looks so much better. They're going to put this on the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. So luckily we don't have to get a PlayStation 5 just yet.
Yeah.
But one of the things I thought was interesting that they added to this game, and and I could be wrong, but I think it's a direct result to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because those two games came out at the same time in, was it 2017?
2017, yeah.
They gave Aloy, am I getting that right?
Aloy, yeah.
A glider, a little hand glider,
Yeah, glider.
which Link had in Breath of the Wild. So
yeah.
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. She didn't have that in the first game.
Anything else you want to say about Horizon Forbidden West?
No.
Okay.
Just I'm really excited for it.
Okay. On to the next game, which I was surprised saw was this before E3. There's a little-known arcade game called Metal Slug. It's a lot like Contra, which is you can play two players, co-op. It's classified as a run and gun. So you got two people running, shooting guns, killing the bad guys, blowing up bases and stuff. And Metal Slug has got about 7 games in the main series with a couple of remakes of earlier, like Metal Slug X is like I think a remake or a retelling of Metal Slug 2 and 3 and stuff. But they went with a tactics-based game, which I thought was kind of interesting. If anybody doesn't know what a tactics-based game is, it's almost like chess where you move. You got multiple pieces on the field, and you move them around. And if you're in range of shooting your opponent or throwing a grenade or whatever the tactics game is, you can do that. So it's very almost like battle chess, I guess maybe you would call it. So. Yeah. This is a good spin-off from the series. A lot of people like the Metal Slug series. So I saw the trailer. I watched the trailer about 5 times, and if it comes out on sale or something, I'm down to buy it. What was your take when I made you watch the trailer?
I didn't have very much excitement.
Yeah.
Because again, it replicates a lot of the games that I remember playing in the arcades.
Yeah.
I was a fan of Contra.
Yeah.
And so, I probably would play it with you.
Well, I think these tactic games are more like PC because, the idea with arcade machines was to pump in the developers wanted you to pump in as many quarters as possible. Like Dragon's Lair, you had to pay enough time to memorize everything. Like the Turtles game, you want to pump in enough quarters so you can, because you want to get to the next level or this what. So, I think like these tactics game like XCOM and stuff, it's more. I think it. Or without me doing more research, I think it. If to me, it feels like it. These type of games originated from PC. We're gonna still stay on the topic of a tactics game. It was announced at Ubisoft and Nintendo's Direct on E3 that the Mario plus Rabbids game is going to get a sequel. The first one came out in 2017. It's a tactics game. It's an interesting fusion of using the Mario characters and those crazy white rabbit or rabbit characters that Ubi has license over. They're pretty big over in Europe. I think over here in the U.S., I think more people like the Minions over the Rabbids. But it was an interesting fusion of the two properties. A lot of people didn't know what to expect when it was first announced, but once people started playing it and posting it on YouTube and stuff, the idea was kind of interesting, where the main character made some sort of headset where it could fuse two things together, and they're going to be and they were going to go to some sort of tech expo or something. Of course, like anything, goes to bed. The rabbits show up in this. I know it doesn't make any sense for whatever reason. A time traveling washing machine, and then one of the rabbits picks up that little headset, and then it starts sucking in everything from the room. Which on the room, the lead character had a whole bunch of like Mario stuffed animals and posters, and then next thing you know, they get zapped to the Mushroom Kingdom. But it sounds crazy. Plus, it's weird to see Mario with a gun, and Luigi, and so you had like your first So they're taking that and they're blowing it up, and it's almost like the Mario Galaxy games where they're going from planet to planet. So just based on the trailer alone, it looks like it's going to be even bigger and more vast, and they're adding characters like Rabbid Rosalina, which is a new princess that they added when they did the Mario Galaxy games on the Nintendo Wii. You got any hype, any excitement for this? Not really?
Not really. I haven't really seen anything on it.
So when we get a Switch...
Yeah, there you go.
If I buy the game, would you play it? You've seen some gameplay, right? It's kind of interesting.
I think I have.
Okay.
You watch so many, I don't know what I've seen and what I haven't. But yeah.
Okay. On to the next.
I'm more of a player than a watcher.
Ooh, throwing shade at me. Gotcha. See you. Okay. We're going to talk about one more Mario game, spin-off, and then head on over to some other stuff. Mario Golf. Mario Golf. Sorry. Super Rush. It's the 5th sequel in the franchise, or 4th one. And me, I like more the arcadey like golf games, like Super Swing Golf or Hot Shots Golf or Everyone's Golf on the PlayStation. So I know we had one of them for the GameCube, and it just, I don't know. I liked it but didn't like it. But it looks like they are adding some new elements and making it feel a little bit different. So, you got any hype level on this, or pros and cons? Pros or cons? What's wrong? Wrong SequelCentric thing. You got any
Pros or cons, huh?
Yeah, what can I say? You got any feelings for this Mario golf game?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I mean, yes. Sorry. There you go.
Okay, before I go, I just remembered I forgot the tail end of the intro.
Oh, whoopsie.
You know, I am Nathan. We're gonna head on now. I'll make this the outro since I forgot to add it.
Since you flubbed it.
Yeah, flubbed it.
Well, we were frustrated with because we're still learning the ropes with Facebook Live. So, anyways,
we'll be at least 50% better than this episode.
Each one will be a little better.
Excellent. So, okay. This is SequelCentric Tidbits. We're out. I am Nathan. She is the grilled cheese to my tomato soup.
There we go.
The Zelda to my Link. The Daisy to my Luigi. And the Samus to my Adam. Sandy.
Adam.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh boy, I just lost my nerd card.
Yeah, you just.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll have to tell you that.
Yeah, explain that one.
Okay. With that, we're out. Have an excellent Father's Day. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
You didn't say my name.
I did. I said Sandy.
Say my name.
Say my name. Say my name. Say my name. Sandra. Queen Bee.
Well, oh, hey, Johnny. Mr. Santos.
Okay.
Yep. We're out.
Okay.
Excellent!